Everyone. Like counsel, Mr. Barisone, the jury sent out a note about 10 minutes ago that they have in fact reached a verdict in this matter. So we're going to bring the jurors in a moment. Before we do, I understand it was an emotional case, so for those interested in the courtroom, please no outcries. I understand there may be some emotion here regardless of what the verdict is. So please respect the jury when they're in the courtroom. And no outcries, no comments. All right, we'll bring the jurors in now. Thank you. Any alternates?
Watch your step.
All right, be seated, everyone. All right, Mr. Foreman, please rise, please. Mr. Foreman, has the jury agreed upon a verdict in this case?
Yeah,
Is that verdict unanimous?
it is.
With regard to count one, attempted murder of Lauren Kanarek, what is your verdict?
Not guilty by reason of insanity.
With regard to count two, attempted murder of Rob Goodwin, what is your verdict, sir?
Not guilty.
With regard to count two, the lesser included offense of aggravated assault upon Robert Goodwin, what is your verdict?
Not guilty.
On count three, possession of a weapon for an unlawful purpose to use against the person of Lauren Kanarek, what is your verdict?
Not guilty by reason of insanity.
And with regard to count four, possession of a weapon for an unlawful purpose, what is your verdict?
Not guilty.
Very good. You may be seated, Mr. Foreman. Thank you. All right, members of the jury, you have heard the verdict as reported by your foreperson. And I will now have a polling of each of you individually. And the verdict as read by your foreman is as follows. On count one, attempted murder, not guilty by reason of insanity. On count two, attempted murder, not guilty. On the lesser included offense, aggravated assault, not guilty. On count three, possession of a weapon for an unlawful purpose with regard to Lauren Kanarek, not guilty by reason of insanity. And finally, on count four, possession of a weapon for an unlawful purpose regarding Robert Goodwin, not guilty. If this is your verdict, as I go around, I'll call each juror's number. And if that's your verdict, simply say yes. If it's not your verdict, just indicate no. All right? All right, beginning with juror number one, is that your verdict?
Yes.
And juror number three, is that your verdict?
Yes.
Juror number four?
Yes.
Juror number five?
Yes.
All right. Juror number six?
Yes.
And juror number 8?
Yes.
Juror number 10?
Yes.
Juror number 11?
Yes.
And juror number 12?
Yes.
All right. And juror number 13?
Yes.
Juror number 14?
Yes.
And finally, juror number 16.
Yes.
Very good. And Mr. Foreman, there was a spot on the verdict form for your signature and a date. Did you sign and date the verdict form?
I did.
All right, can you hand that to one of my court officers, please? They'll bring it up. That will be kept by the court in our court file for future reference. Thank you. All right, I did review the verdict sheet. It is marked as the foreman announced it, and it is signed and dated by the foreperson, so that'll be kept by the court. Thank you, sir. All right, very good. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the function you have performed is one of the most important civic duties which you will ever be called upon to fulfill. If you recall, I said that at the very beginning of the case when we were picking a jury. I thought next to military service, serving as a juror in a case is one of the most important civic duty you will be called upon to fulfill. And with the return of the verdict in this case, your service as jurors in this case is complete. Upon your discharge, you are not required, except upon order of this court, to discuss your deliberations or verdict with anyone. Additionally, no attorney or party or person acting for them is permitted under the rules of court to examine or question you about this matter or your role in its outcome. If any of these persons approaches you and attempts to interview you, please notify me or my staff immediately. You may also be contacted by others, including members of the media. I'm sure it's no surprise to you that this case, given the cameras in the courtroom, has received attention from the media. And there is media present now in the courtroom. There's also a news magazine, I'm sure some of you have heard of it, 48 Hours, that has been recording this trial, not you, but the proceedings. The jurors are not shown, but they have been recording the trial for future broadcast sometime in the fall. They have asked that my court staff provide you each with a letter by their producer. They may wish to speak to you. They cannot approach you individually, but my staff will give you a letter with the name of the producer and a phone number. If you wish to speak to her, you can contact her. You can throw the letter in the trash on your way out if you want. It's completely up to you. However, if you agree to be interviewed, you may discuss whatever you want and in whatever manner you deem appropriate. However, please keep in mind that the key to your function as jurors has been the free discussion among yourselves during your deliberations. And the privacy of those deliberations is essential to the continuation of the fair administration of justice. All jurors have the prerogative to keep confidential their communications with their fellow jurors during deliberations. It is in the public interest that there be the utmost freedom of discussion in the jury room, and that each juror be permitted to express their views without concern for public reaction. Under no circumstances should you make any statement that you would not be willing to repeat under oath in open court in the presence of your fellow jurors. All right, with that, ladies and gentlemen, you will be dismissed by the court. I do want to thank you personally for the service you have provided in this case. It was a long case, it was an important case, and you have all served very admirably in your role as jurors. I do note that I never had an issue with a juror coming late to court. They were here, ready to go, most of the time by shortly after 8:30 in the morning, so I appreciate that very much. Thank you all for your service. You are now discharged. You may go next door. I'm sure you have belongings there. You can get your belongings and leave. Everyone is going to stay in the courtroom until you have left the floor, as always. Thank you very much. Enjoy your weekend. No, we have to stay on. All right, be seated, everyone. By counsel, in light of the verdict, count 1 is a not guilty by reason of insanity. Count 3 is not guilty by reason of insanity. There was an acquittal on counts 2 and 4. Because of that, the defendant, Mr. Barisone, will now be civilly committed. I will enter an order today for having him committed to the custody of the Commissioner of the Department of Health pursuant to NJSA 2C4-8, and pending medical clearance for admission. The professional staff at the Law&Crime Forensic Center will make a determination as required pursuant to 2C:4-8A with regard to the present condition, whether the defendant poses a danger to himself or others in the community, whether the defendant requires hospitalization, or may be released to the community under certain conditions. Well, that examination, I believe, requires 30 days. Well, bear with me and I'll pick a date when we can have our first Kroll hearing with regard to the matter. You do it on, assuming Ann Klein gets the report done. I'll schedule it for May 17th. You both, everyone available that day?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Judge, that will be in person?
That's an in-person proceeding. It'll be at 9 o'clock in the morning. And because of the nature of the proceeding, counsel, it is a closed proceeding. It is not a murder case.
I agree with that, Your Honor.
If it was a murder case, it would be open to the public, but because it's not a murder case, it is a closed proceeding. All right, very good. I'll enter the order. We'll have it filed today in light of the verdict. Copies will be posted on the e-courts for counsel. And Mr. Barisone will be transported down to the Law&Crime Center once the order is filed. All right? Very good. Thank you all. This